I'm Justin Davis, and this is Drone Camps RC. Hey guys, welcome back to the Drone Camps channel. I'm Justin Davis, and I'm here to do another review for you today. We're going to do an awesome review of this RC Leading. That's the name of the company, RC Leading. It's the RC136. It is a 1080p camera on here, tiltable, but it's not brushless, stabilized, motorized gimbal. It's just a fixed gimbal underneath the quad. So I'm kind of interested to see how this one shoots video. By the way, it does look like a pretty large lens on there, so I think it's a pretty nice camera. And 1080p is pretty acceptable for some of these smaller type GPS drones, but this one's pretty cool. On the bottom here, you can see it has LEDs front and rear, and they're quite big. You can see them pretty well on the ground. I was testing it out yesterday, and it was pretty hot. It was actually close to 90 to 95 degrees. So what happened was, after I had this sitting here and I calibrated the compass, you can do that with a stick command. I believe it's left stick all the way up, right stick all the way down to the corner. Hold it for 5 seconds, and that will put it into calibration mode, where you're going to rotate it on this axis 3 times. You're going to rotate it on the vertical axis 3 times. Now, after I did all that, I was sitting there for about 5 minutes and I lost video transmission here. Why? Because after video transmitters get overheated, they just black out. So on really hot days, if you have your quad sitting there on the ground for quite some time, on the cheaper ones, you do risk that, but it can even happen to the more expensive ones as well. So keep that in mind. These video transmitters get super, super hot. This one's located on the bottom too, and there's a little bit of venting down here on this RC136, but it's not quite enough. You need to have some airflow going through here to kind of cool off that transmitter. But we're going to get about 15 minutes flight time out of this quad. We have, let's see, a 2S battery on here, and that's a 1500 milliamp. Probably takes a couple hours to charge this one up. It comes with a little USB charger inside the box. But what's super cool about this quad is the fact that it does have this 5.8 gigahertz system on here. So most of you guys know I prefer 5.8 video transmission over Wi-Fi. Why is that? There's way less lag on 5.8. On the back of this transmitter, you can see that clover leaf right here that they already have on there, and it's kind of cool because it's already shielded with a little bit of plastic here to protect it from getting bent. So that should stay good for you. And then you have your 2.4 over here transmitting your video signal, your control signal to your copter. Now there's 2 buttons on the very top of this transmitter, photo and video on this side, and on this side we have a follow me function, which is pretty cool. A lot of these new GPS quads now have follow me. Everybody seems to want that, but this is a built-in monitor. Also has an SD card slot on the side, so you can put in an SD card. You can record straight from your monitor, and you can put an SD card in the bottom of this quad on the very back, so you can record 2 different sources on this quad. That's pretty cool. You also have brushless motors on this quad, which is great because we're going to get a lot smoother flying, a more powerful flying quad, also quieter even with the brushless motors. And it looks like it would pick up a GoPro for those people who are kind of wondering if it will. It's actually pretty big, but you would need to extend the landing gear. If you guys are into doing mods and stuff like that, that shouldn't be a problem. But everything on this transmitter, aside from these 2 top ones right here, everything is labeled, which is super awesome. You also have a slot here for holding your little neck strap. And by the way, you guys can check these out on prettyflyfpv.com. Check out this strap. This is pretty wild. You can get all kinds of different colors from these guys. I've been using tons of their lanyards and their goggle straps. So if you have Fat Sharks, by the way, you can also use 5.8 with your Fat Sharks or other FPV goggles. So if you want to FPV this one, you can. That's what's also cool about 5.8. If you don't know about that, now you know. Also, like I was saying, on the front of this transmitter, we have mode 1, mode 2 switch here. We have headless mode on here. We have auto return, that's your 1-key return, but with this one, since it has GPS, it's going to come back and land in the spot it took off. We also have auto launch, which is going to be just an auto takeoff, and we have down for your auto landing. Pretty simple. And in the very middle, it has a little speaker for, like, it looks like a voice output. On the side here, we have 2 little dials and those are for your pitch on your camera. So you can point it straight ahead and maybe down about 40 degrees or so. It doesn't go all the way down to 90, which I would like it to do that, but it doesn't. But let's go ahead and get this battery charged up with the USB charger, and we'll go outside and do a flight test with this RC136 quad. Okay guys, here we are at the field, and I have my 5.8 video on the screen already, and there's a little green light here. It says GPS is good to go, so I'm ready to take off. I'm also in mode 2. You'll see a 1 on this side of the screen and 2 over here. Make sure if you're flying in mode 2, throttle on the left here, that you're in mode 2 before you take off, that you're not in mode 1. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn on the Fat Sharks, and I can record from these because it has a DVR built in here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll search that frequency. Once it locks in here, I'll be able to see the real-time view coming from the drone, which is super cool. So I'm going to press on my DVR record button, and now those are recording, so we'll have an extra source of recording there. And I'll go ahead and hit record on the very top here. Long press and hold, and you'll see a red light start flashing up here at the very top of your screen. So I'm going to go ahead, put the strap over my head here, and we'll try to take off. Hopefully everything is good to go. 6 down and center like a Phantom 2. That should arm the quad. Pretty nice hover. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to try to do an auto land real quick, just for the fun of it, because we are working with plenty of battery here. Now if you see it start the toilet bowl or do anything strange, sit it back down and recalibrate the compass. So I'm going to hit the down button, and it should automatically land. Nice job. Okay, now we're going to do an auto takeoff. Should come up off the ground here. Press and hold up. Might have to arm the motors first. Okay, yep. Down into the center now. Let's see if we can take off. Okay, awesome. So now I'm going to come back up again, and I believe I'm still recording video. If not, I'm going to go ahead and hit that record button again. I'm going to try to bring the gimbal up so it's not looking at the ground for you guys. Go straight ahead here with that camera. Go up just a little higher. That, you know, the GPS seems to be working quite well. Look at that lock it has right there. That's a GPS lock, altitude and positioning. So I'll just come back down, holding my throttle stick all the way down. A little bit of shake there. Pretty solid quad though. Just want to come in and check out this hover up close and personal here. Not bad. Actually really good. The LEDs look really good. Nice and quiet, plenty of power. Let's do a punch out real quick. 1, 2, 3. Wow, that's a nice, that's actually really nice. Now, you know, this one's in the $200 range, so you kind of expect that it has brushless motors these days. And I'm just looking down to check out the real-time view on here for you. I'm seeing a little bit of interference. But if you fly outside of town, out in the country somewhere, you usually get a little less interference. Now, it could be that I'm getting interference from local Wi-Fi. Like someone has a router, a big router. Because this thing's running on 5.8, so keep that in mind. Now Wi-Fi also can run on 5.8, but this is a different frequency because it has multiple frequencies that it can run on, which is great. So if you have interference, you should be able to switch to a different frequency. Super smooth flying quad though. As far as beginner GPS quad, I would recommend this one. This one is not bad at all. I don't see anything to complain about so far here. I think maybe the video stream could be a little bit, maybe a little bit better. So it's starting to circle a little bit. You see that circle it's doing? That's called the toilet bowl. And that's the compass reacting to the environment around it. It's having a hard time locking onto that main position, so it's kind of searching. And you can alleviate that by recalibrating the compass. And that's all in the manual. But it doesn't affect your forward flying. So don't worry about it too much if you're not trying to just hold one position. If you're out in forward flight, you'll be just fine. What a cruiser. How do you guys like this? Now I don't see any way to turn GPS off on this particular quad. That would be kind of cool if you could turn off the GPS, but I don't see a button to go full manual. Now, full manual is nice because you take it out of GPS and then you can learn how to fly it without GPS lock. So if I let go of the sticks right now, watch what it's going to do. See how it comes to an abrupt stop? That's pretty nice for training. So if you get out there and you get confused, you can spin the drone on the yaw axis like that and pull back on the stick until it comes back to you. Practice that, and that's a good recovery method. If you ever get kind of discombobulated out there, you get all confused and backwards and forwards, you can't tell which way your drone's facing, that's a really nice recovery technique. Spin it 1/2 turn, pull back on the stick, spin it 1/2 turn, pull back on the stick. You see it go to the right, spin it a little more, pull back on the stick, and eventually you'll have it coming back home. I've done it several hundred yards out before, and it works pretty well. Kind of a cool looking quad in the air. I think it could have a little longer landing gear on it, but you could definitely carry a GoPro or a GoPro Session with this quad. So if you wanted to mount one on the bottom, you could definitely do that. I'm just cruising around the field here. If you push once on that photo button, it'll take a photo. If you hold down for 2 seconds or more, it'll start doing video for you. Now it's flying back our direction. And let's go ahead and let's bring this down and see if we can't get it to do an auto return to home here. It's a little bit wobbly, needs a compass calibration, but it's doing its thing. Getting a little bit crazy above me right there. The lights are flashing. Look how stable it is coming back down now that it took control. Sometimes when you get a quadcopter over your head, it's kind of hard to tell which direction it's actually facing. So that's pretty important to keep it out in front of you. If it gets behind you, you can get confused with your sticks. I hear that beeping. That's telling me that my transmitter batteries are low. So if you're using transmitter batteries for this particular quad, I would highly suggest using nickel metal rechargeables. That way you'll get the longest life, because what happens with this quad for this transmitter is that it's also running this large screen on here, so you're going to need some pretty intense batteries to run on this, some pretty high powered batteries. But that was a lot of fun. This is a good flying quad. It's pretty stable, except for when I had it over my head there. Pretty cool though. I thought it might go into the trees, and then it just took control. The quad says it still has half the battery left, so I probably could have flown another like 6 to 7 minutes with that battery. So plenty of battery life on the quad. Just bring some rechargeable batteries with you instead of energizers, because it'll eat up some batteries. So that's probably the only con about this particular drone. I'm going to go ahead and turn that radio off, and we'll turn the quad off, just so we don't have to listen to that beeping. But it's not as high quality as something like a DJI Phantom, of course. But it does have 1080p video, which I'm satisfied with. But we'll see how well that video did when I get it back to my computer and upload it to the editor. It doesn't have any form of stabilization on there, video stabilization, so it's completely manual and non-stabilized. But pretty cool quad. RC136. Not too bad. I like the shape of this one. It's pretty cool looking in the air. Thanks again for hanging out with me at the field, you guys. I appreciate you flying with me once again on the Drone Camps channel. Thanks for tuning in. Please do check out the Quad Club, guys, because Quad Club is just getting bigger and bigger. Free tech support in the Quad Club, and lots of cool stuff there. That's on our website at dronecamps.com. So anyway, guys, have a great day. It's Wednesday. Hope you're having a good one. We're halfway through the week. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Take care now. Bye-bye.